Okay, so what we're doing in this section in 3.7 is back to graphing again. You've graphed a ton. You guys are pros at graphing. But it's greater than, less than kind. So we're still doing this greater than, less than thing, in which you can tell from the picture is going to bring shading in there. So it's really, there's not a lot new in this section. It's just graph like you've already learned to graph. But in the end, you're going to shade whichever side of the line it tells you to shade. So, all right, so let's begin with graphing. How do we graph a straight line again? We got to get 2 dots, right? How do we get our first dot? How do we get our first dot? Well, the slope will lead to our second dot. How do we get our first dot? Yeah, y times whatever's off here to the right, huh? What's off there to the right? Nothing, right? So what do we put in? Plus 0. And you put this 6 over 1, right? You put in the stuff that's missing. Remember all that? Remember graphing lines? Off to so this is your starting dot. That's going to be your first dot, which is right there at the origin, huh? Right? Start at a height of 0. That's your first dot. How do you get your second? Overrun. Rise, overrun. So go up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1. Boom. Like that. Up 6 over 1. And connect the dots, huh? Oh, actually, you know what I need to mention? If it says greater than or equal to, it doesn't. But if it did, that'd be a solid line. If it doesn't have the equals, it's a dotted line. Kind of like the parenthesis bracket thing. It means that it can't be exactly there. It can't be right on the line. It's only greater than the line. It's not right on the line. So it's not like, because normally if this said equals, if they gave us an equals problem, that's what we did, last week. If they gave us equal, we would just make a line through the 2 dots, done, right? So the line is the equal stuff. Well, they're saying they don't want the equal stuff. They're saying, I just want the greater than stuff. If they said greater than or equal, then I would have kept the line. In fact, let me put it to you this way. Basically, the line breaks the whole graph world, or what do you want to call it, the whole plane into 3 zones. It breaks it into the stuff that's greater, that's above the line, less, that's below the line, and right on the line is the equal stuff. Does that make sense? It breaks the whole world into greater than, equal to, and less than, is what it does. And then you just give them what they want. What do they want? Just the greater, please. Right? Y greater. So where's the greater? Up here. So you shade above the line. Now, if they said greater or equal, I would have given them greater, and I would have made the line solid because they want the equals. They want the line. The line's where the stuff equals. If they said less, I would have just shaded below. If they said less than or equal to, I would have given them a solid line and shade below. Does that make sense on that? So let me just write out what I just said. So somewhere I've got some room. So y greater than or equal to is shade above solid line, huh? Y just greater is shade above dotted line, right? Because there's no equals. Everybody seeing that? So greater is shade above, and then if they change the game and they go less than or equal to, I would shade below the line because it's less, and solid line because they have the equals. And if they just say less, I'll shade below dotted line because they don't want the equals. Oh, can you read that? Shade below dotted. That says dotted. Shade below dotted. Just squeeze that in there. Is that good? Below dotted. Below and dotted. So that's basically it. So it's just do what we've already learned to do on graphing lines, and then just shade above or below, solid line or dotted line, depending on whether they have the bar or not. Now, how do you, everybody good with that? Got that copy down? I'll show you how to do the actual Math Excel. Well, you can see it. There's a little paint bucket option. So, we have 5x plus 6y less or equal to 30. Try that one. So first thing, what do you do first when you're graphing a line? Got to get y alone, huh? So go ahead and get that y alone. So first solve for y. So I'm just going to grab that 5x and jump it to the other side. What happens when you jump something to the other side? Switches signs, huh? Yeah. Becomes negative 5x. Good so far. And then divide through by 6. And that's what, 5 out there? We're good to there. Now, can we graph that thing? Where do we start? Where do we put our first dot when it comes to the graph? Yeah, so I'm gonna just draw it over here. Positive 5, there you start, and this is plus 5, up in the middle, huh? Positive is up, negative is down, right? It's always right in the middle, so up 5 in the middle. There we go. Our first dot, is it up 5 in the middle? And then, yeah, then this, we do the rise over run thing. That's right. This is rise over run. So go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's your second dot. So start it up 5 and then go down 5 over 6. There's your second dot. Connected us. Now, solid line or dotted line? Yeah, right here, that means solid line because it's equal. They want it right on the line. So they want the equal stuff. They want the points right on the line. And then which way are we going to shade? Do we shade above the line or below the line? Yeah, what does it say? Y less. Y less. Lesser stuff is below. Greater stuff's above, huh? It's below. So I'm going to shade everything below that line. Solid line shaded below. Good? Easy stuff, right? You know 90% of that already. Just the shading and the solid or dotted that's new. Good? Now, you might have learned another way where you plug in 0, 0 and check it. That works fine, too. It's another good way. It's nice there's only a few problems in this section. Not much new. All right, so let's try 5x minus 4 less or equal to 9x plus y. Try that one. So you know the first thing, right? Get y alone. It's fine to have y on the right side. You don't need to move the y, but got to get rid of that 9x that's with it, huh? So I would probably just subtract that 9x right away from both sides. You could move the y if you want to. It doesn't matter. So minus 4x minus 4, like that. Then we can go right to graphing. That good? Got that y alone? How we doing? Can you guys take 15 more minutes of math? It's a long stretch of math here. We voted for no break, remember? Because we want to get out early. All right. Make sure we can handle all that. All right, so we start right with that point. And that's down 4. Down 4 in the middle. down 4, so I'll just do it right here. So down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, right there. There's our first dot. Down 4 in the middle. And then where do we go from there? Yeah, down further, huh? Down, rise over run. So down 4 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 1. There's our second dot. It's way down there at negative 8 over 1. So there's our 2 dots. Connect dots. Solid line or dotted line? Yeah, solid bar, solid line. Solid line. Now, we're going to shade above. Careful here now. Careful. Above the line or below the line? What does it say? Now, remember, whenever you read a greater than, less than statement, I've run into a lot of students over the years that think you always read it left to right. No, you just read it for what's true. So in this case, we're focused on Y. So start with the Y. What is this? Which side of the symbol is Y on? What side? Is he on the wide mouth side or the narrow side? He's on the wide side. He's the greater. That says Y greater. Everybody see that? A lot of students have said to me over the years, Mr. This always means less. They don't understand the symbols. It depends which side of that thing you're on. Now, if you're on this side of that symbol, right, you can't just write a symbol and say what it always means. It depends which side of it you're on, huh? So that means Y greater. Greater. So they want me to shade greater, don't they? That good? You good with that? All right. Okay. Number 6. They're going to put 2 of them on the same graph now. The final answer is going to be where the 2 shadings overlap. That's what they want from us. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this one over here first, Y greater than X. And then I'll do the other one over here, Y less than negative X plus 2. In fact, I'm just going to go to a fresh screen. Greater than X. Let me see, what number is this? Number 6, thanks. 6. Y greater than X, and over here Y less than something, negative X plus 2. Hey, they're both ready to graph right now. Y's alone, huh? It's kind of nice. Go right to the graph. So go right to the graph. Put the first line on the graph and the shading, and then do the second line, same graph, same coordinate system, same axis system. And so 2 lines, 2 shadings, and the final answer is where the shadings overlap. So this is plus 0 out here, isn't it? Start at 0. And what fraction is in front of the X here? Yeah, 1 over 1. So that's my rise and my run. Right? Whenever the number at the back's missing at 0, fraction 1 over 1. So start at 0. Go up 1 over 1. Boom, there's the 2 dots. So for this one, solid line or dotted? Dotted, huh? So that's the diagonal line, huh? Right, because there's no solid bar. It's just greater. They only want the greater. So which side am I going to shade graters up here? Above the line. That's above. Is everybody good with that? That's above? That's above the line, right? Okay, now the other side, this one, let's start up 2 in the middle. So 1, 2 right there. And then where do we go from there? What fraction? Yeah, negative 1 over 1. Rise over run. Right, that negative 1 that's in front of the X, make that negative 1 over 1. So go down 1 over 1 right there. Dotted line again. Connect those 2 dots with a dotted line. Okay, like that. And am I going to shade above that line or below that line? Y less. Y less. So shade below that line. So where do the 2 shadings overlap? Here. That's the only place you do the paint bucket. I'll show you in just a second. Everybody seeing that? See how I did that? Just shade them both. The answer is where the shadings overlap. So, okay. Number 8. In fact, let me just make them nice. X plus Y is less than or equal to 3. X plus Y less than or equal to 3. Number 8. What's the other one? X minus Y less than or equal to 4. X plus Y less than 4. Okay, try that one. And that's all they had, right? Just those two? Yeah. All right, so try that one. So solve for y, right, in both cases. Put them both on the graph. The answer is where the shadings overlap. You're going to need to flip a symbol over here, right? When you get y alone, you're going to divide by -1 in the end. Symbol's going to flip. Did you notice that in the blue one? When you solve for y there, watch for that. As you solve for y, your last step will be to divide by -1. That'll flip the symbol. I'm just going to grab that x and jump it over. Like that. For the other one, I'm going to also grab that x and jump it over. But then I have one more step to get y alone, huh? I've got to divide through by -1, don't I? Because we can't have that negative on the x. It's not alone yet. Y wants nothing on it. No negative, nothing. So when I do that, right then I've got to turn the symbol the other way. Whenever you divide by a negative, or multiply by a negative, you got to turn the symbol. Got to remember that. So what's that? That's just going to be positive x minus 4, isn't it? Okay, let's go to the graph. So we got x alone in both cases. Now we can graph. So put the red one on there, put the blue one on there. And the overlap of the shadings. Okay, we good? So this one starts at 3. 1, 2, 3. And then he goes down 1 over 1, right? Down 1 over 1. Solid line. And the shading's going to be below him. The blue one starts at down 4. And plus 1 up 1, so it goes up 1 over 1. Solid line. And the shading for him, y greater. Greater's above him. So where do the two shadings overlap? Over here. There we go. Good, easy enough. One more, number 9. All right, so x plus 3y less than or equal to 9. I'm going to recopy it here. And 3x plus y less than or equal to 9. 3x plus y less than or equal to 9. And then x and y greater than or equal to 0, yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, here, let me. 3x plus y less than or equal to 9. Oops. Okay. I think I got those right. Yeah. Okay. So let me do this one with you. So, all right. So first off here, y cell won't be alone. Grab that x, jump it over. So we've got 3y. Okay, let's just say 3y less than or equal to negative x plus 9. Divide by 3. Boom. Y less than or equal to negative x over 3 plus 3. Good for that one? Got y alone. Now go to the red one. And I'm going to have to move this over, aren't I? 3x plus y less than or equal to 9. So solve the next one. Okay. So grab the 3x, jump it over. Y less than or equal to negative 3x plus 9. So that one's good. And the other two I'll handle in a minute. All right, let's go to the graph. So the blue one starts way up at, well, only up at 3. The other one's going to be way up at 3. So right there at 3. And then down 1, over 3, right? Rise, over, run. Down 1, over 3. 1, 2, 3. So there we go. A solid line. Good for the blue one? It's okay. You with me? 2 more minutes here. Then the red one, we start at up 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, way up here. And then down 1 over 3, or down 3 over 1, like that. Solid line. There's the red one. Okay, now, both those are shaded below, aren't they? We're going too quick? Hold on for just a second. Let me hold off on the shading. You see they're both y less than. Y less than, y less than. They're both less. They're both below. They're both shaded below. But what do we do about this x thing and this y thing? Well, you know what that is. Remember when you just have only x and a number or only y and a number? So straight lines, flat, or vertical? Okay, so how do you do it? You just go through the x-axis at 0. This is the x-axis. This is the y-axis. Go through the x-axis at 0. I'll just do this one in green. X-axis, so here's the x. I'm going to go through the x-axis. So this line goes through the x-axis at 0, doesn't it? And I'm supposed to shade where on that line? Greater. Where's great on a perfectly vertical line? You can't go high, above and below. It goes all the way up and all the way down. What's above and below even mean? Greater and less has to be right or left. What do you think greater is? To the right. Greater numbers are to the right. Their positives are to the right. Negatives to the left. So greater means to the right. So the shading for the green one means everything to the right. Okay, now let me go over here and do this one in purple. Y greater than or equal to 0. That means go through the y-axis at 0. Here's the y-axis. Here's 0 on the y-axis. Shoot right through the y-axis at 0. Got to put that line on the graph. And shade above it. So shade above that. And then below the other two lines, can you see right in here is going to be the overlap of all 4 shadings? Because it's below the red and the blue, because the red and the blue are both y less. And it's to the right and above the horizontal and vertical lines, right and above. It's right there. So you got to put all 4 lines on the graph and paint bucket right in there. All right, well, we did not cover 4-1, but that's okay. There's nothing to 4-1. It's not even on the next step. So we covered those 2. So those will be what's due. Absolute value of handout. So I'm going to collect that from you on Wednesday at 3-7. Both those are due on Wednesday at class time 1 p.m. Have a good day. Got questions coming up. Be glad to